Back. You are listening to Behind the Lens. It is April. Can you believe it is April already?
Yeah.
I am here with my cinematic cohort, Greg.
It's alliteration.
Alliteration. Yes. You know.
Cinematic cohort, Culver City, 4 C's. Right there.
It works. It works. But we're in Whittier. We're in Whittier. Today's show is jam-packed. Jam-packed.
We're going to go at a breakneck pace, right?
We really are.
Okay.
We've got calling in at 11:10 today, the legendary Carole Cook, Broadway film. Most of you classic film lovers out there will know her as Bessie Limpet in The Incredible Mr. Limpet, a must-see on anybody's cinematic list.
Yeah.
With Don Knotts. Carole's going to be calling in. We're going to talk about the S.T.A.G.E LA benefit, May 9th at the Saban Theatre. This is its 31st year. It is a benefit to raise money for AIDS Project Los Angeles. This is not research money. The money does not go for research. It goes boots on the ground. And when Carole calls, I have the statistics just from last year's show and what was done with the money that was raised, and it's mind-boggling.
Wow, yeah.
And coming up on the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot of the performers calling in. Nancy Dussault will be joining us next week to talk stage. Jake Simpson, the director David Galligan, a noted theatrical director. So we got a lot of fun stuff. At 11:30, one of my most favorite crazy bitches in the world is Jane Clark, the writer-director of Crazy Bitches.
How many times can you actually say that word?
I don't know. Brian said before we were limited to 7 times. And
7.
Jane and I were keeping count.
You used 2 of them already.
Well, we only used 4 last time we were on the show together.
Okay.
So we think we banked them.
Okay.
Of course, but first we have to get through Carole Cook.
Yes.
And who knows, because Carole says whatever comes into Carole's mind.
Okay, great.
Which is part of what I love about her. And at 11:45 today, we have the co-writers and directors, Esra Saydam and Nisan, the Slamdance Audience Narrative Feature winner, Across the Sea. It is part of the Arclight-Slamdance Cinema Club. It will be at the Arclight in Hollywood.
Right.
Which Gretchen McCourt talked to us about, launching that whole program, venture every month between Arclight and Slamdance. And their film is going to be it'll be Sunday night on the 12th.
And it's a beautiful looking film, right?
It is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Shot in widescreen on the coast of the Aegean Sea. So you just sit back. When you watch this film, the story is interesting. The second half, everything comes together so beautifully and very emotionally dynamically. But the visuals, just sit there and just float away on your own little vacation. Yes. But first, you got a whole bunch of stuff for us today.
Okay, I'm going to be very fast.
Okay.
As I usually am.
Oh, because, yes, we always have...
I'm kidding. That was a G-rated joke.
That was a G-rated joke.
That meant to go a G-rated
Because,
avenue.
when people watch the video this week, they're going to see we have all this great Pixar stuff here that the folks at Disney and Pixar gave me my little jaunt this week. For the new film Inside Out, which we'll be talking about in the coming weeks leading up to the film's release in June.
Well, I'm just going to get really bloody and morbid.
Go ahead.
Get it out of the way.
We go from Pixar to bloody and morbid. Okay.
On my deepestdream.com blog, I'm conducting a giveaway which ends April 19th for this movie called Killers. And it's produced by Gareth Evans, the guy who did The Raid and The Raid Redemption. Part 2, I think. The Raid 2. And it's a really kind of depraved, sickening
Let me see that.
Thriller.
Let me see this.
But it's really well done. You were talking about Across the Sea, about the great visual compositions. It's directed by the Moe brothers. I haven't seen their first film, Macabre, but...
I really? Have.
You have?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So Killers has that kind of... It's about the intricate relationship between 2 killers. One of them is a journalist in Jakarta. And the other, of course, Jakarta, right, with Gareth. And the other is a banker in Tokyo, and it's about how they connect with their taste for killing. And you know what? It's not. You might think it's really bloody and gory and like I said, sickening. And there are moments that are exactly like that.
Yeah.
But there are many moments, as if you've seen both Raid films, and I guess you love the Moe Brothers' first film. There's a lot of melodrama
And
as well.
I love the Raid films.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So if you really want a beautifully composed, sickening, perverse, but also very resonant film,
And a lot of action.
a lot of there's a great action sequence in Killers which takes place inside a car in the middle of a beach. So just for that, and you can actually look away at some of the gorier stuff, it's worth a get. So yeah. Anyways, I'm giving away 4 of these Blu-rays on my deepestdream.com site. So
That's
yeah.
it. Deepestdream.com.
Thank you.
Win yourself a get a giveaway of Killers.
Killers, yeah. So I've never seen the first one. So the first Macabre is a really good film.
I really
Okay.
like it.
Great.
I
Great.
like it. But of course, blood, guts, gore, action, psychological thrillers. You throw that all together. I'm very eclectic.
Yes, yes. Well, you watch a lot of things, so.
I watch
lot of
that
great-
is
yeah.
just
So,
it.
yeah.
I am not pigeonholed into any one genre. It's all about, what's good and what's a complete film, what
Yeah.
elements are making up that film that are really standout.
Now, speaking of elements, one film I really loved was 5 to 7. And I think it's one of the most romantic films I've seen in the past maybe even 5 to 10 years. What are your thoughts on that?
Quite honestly, everybody talks about Nicholas Sparks and the romance in his films, and of course, he has the premiere of The Longest Ride with Scott Eastwood, which,
Right.
my God, he looks just like his father.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's a fabulous film, and it's really a departure from what we typically expect with the weepy tear stuff from Nicholas. But he's been long considered, one of the high points of romance and
Right.
love,
Yeah.
with The Notebook being one of the hallmarks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
5 to 7,
Yeah.
you lose that dreamlike, oh, if only, oh, let's look back on our past. No, this is in the moment, true
Yeah.
love, real life, eternal love. It is one of my favorite romantic films ever.
You were surprised at how...
I was
Yeah.
extremely surprised. My curiosity was piqued by having Glenn Close and Frank Langella in the film, because
Right.
I'll see anything with Frank Langella.
And they play Anton Yelchin's parents. Anton Yelchin is a struggling writer who falls in love with a French woman in her early 30s.
And
so-
that was another surprise for me, was
Yeah.
Anton Yelchin, who
Yeah.
just blew my mind in Cymbeline.
Which I haven't seen yet. Yeah.
It
So-
will make you love
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Really?
It will make
Okay.
you want to read and understand and learn more about Shakespearean plays.
But one of the things I loved about 5 to 7 is there's so many movies that are made every year, but few movies really touch on kind of that old school romance. Of course, a part of the narrative deals with adultery, but really,
But that's 21st century.
yeah, the meat of the film is about how we stay in love with each other no matter what the consequence. And I had the chance to talk to Berenice Marlowe, who is absolutely luminous in this film. Yeah,
The camera loves her.
definitely.
Emotionally,
Oh,
she
wow.
is luminous, but the camera, she just lights up the screen.
Yeah, and in this following clip, I asked her about one of the themes of the film, and she talks about how she loves the eternal love element of the movie.
And the most beautiful topic for me in this movie is that, yes, for instance, love is eternal in a way. There's no, when we talk about the length of a relationship, or with, it can be love with your ancestors you never met. Things, we are a collection of memories, I don't know if maybe we have other lives, maybe we have several lives, I don't know. And this is the most beautiful thing that is for me in this story. And I believe that love is like, there's no end,
I just thought that was poetic.
It is.
Yeah.
But leave it to a French woman to come up with that poeticism about love.
Yeah, I'm not poetic. My eyes were glazing as she said that. It's really wonderful. And the movie is fantastic.
Oh,
and
I truly, I was so happy because I couldn't make a screening, but they
Yeah.
were able to get me a screener so I could see it. And it captures the heart. It grabs your heart.
And there's something to be said about romantic dramas, melodramas, romances in New York as well.
Very much so. It's that vibrancy of
Yeah.
life, that energy,
Yeah.
and We have. She is here. She is on the line. This is my beloved Carole Cook.
Hello.
Hi, Debbie. It's Carole.
Hello, Carole. I'm here with my cohort, Greg.
Hi, Carole.
Oh, hi, Greg.
Hello.
And we have been everybody, all the TCM, our TCM audience, all the TCM fans, everybody so excited that you were calling in today.
Well, see, that's vice versa. I'm excited, too. I was sleeping soundly, and they said, you've got to talk to Debbie and Greg. So here I am.
Was that mean old Tom who woke you up and said
Yes, it was. Listen, I'm so glad I don't have to be there in person and put on the Carole Cook face at this hour.
Oh,
I'm good.
I would
sweetheart.
no. You save that for nighttime. You save that for premieres. No.
Yeah,
I just let you talk, and you can sit there in your pajamas.
Okay.
So this is so wonderful. We're going to talk about Stage LA again to Broadway from Hollywood with Love.
Okay. Great.
This is your 30th year? But
No, it's my, let's see, that will be 31 years, and I've done it 29.
well,
Wow.
I mean,
Which tells you how busy I was. They could just call and say, oh, Carole will do the show. And I go, sure.
well, it's funny, Carole, because you are part of the heartbeat of the stage organization and this benefit. I was talking
Well, thank you, darling. I truly, it is my pleasure to do it, and I'd like to think I'm an integral part of the show because it's something I believe in, and I do joke about it. I always say, in 29 years, I have to wear a different outfit all the time, and it's my thing is, hey, let's get on the ball with the cure for this, or at least we've done very well with AIDS so far, but we need to do more. And I said, I'm running out of drag. I'm going to have to speak to somebody about more clothes if I have to go on with this.
Well, I talked to Jake Simpson, who is also performing this year. I talked to Jake for an hour the other day, and he just loves you. And he is so committed to Stage LA and what AIDS Project LA does.
Oh, I'll tell you what's wonderful about it, Debbie. Now, there are people like Elton John and all people who, get millions. But that's done, a lot of that, which is wonderful, goes to research and that kind of thing. And we are more hands-on. We give them places to live, take care of animals when they're in health services of all kinds. We're really more personal. We sort of service all of Southern California,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I love. We know who we're dealing with.
Well, and I happened to get hold of the statistics. Scott provided them, the wonderful publicist for Stage LA, Scott Barton. Scott provided
Love him.
Oh,
Yes.
don't we both? Don't we both, Carole?
Yes.
But he gave me the statistics of just what the money from last year's benefit did this past year with APLA.
Yes.
2,700 HIV tests, 140,000 bags of groceries to people.
Oh. And Debbie, I remember when we started out. My darling sweet thing, all of us were in there. I mean, we brought the coffee pot for the coffee. We did our own makeup and hair. Honey, we were in the bathroom cleaning everything in the bathrooms because we were in sometimes very strange locations, and we did it all. And then gradually, we charged, I think it was $10, and people would go, now what's this for? There wasn't even a name for AIDS when we started. It was called, I don't know, the plague, the gay disease. There were a million names for it. And we just knew it was terrible. And I was doing 42nd Street at the time. It was 1984. And I was doing 42nd Street out here in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a young man in the company was stricken with AIDS. And I thought, isn't that amazing? I'll probably never know anybody else who has it. Well, of course, that proved to be very wrong and terrible for everybody. But we started that long ago, and I had this hairdresser in 42nd Street. He came to the show one of the times, and he said, "Oh, my God, you ladies are BV, beauty violations." He said, "We're going to have to pitch in and do something about your hair." And so he got a bunch of his friends to come in, and then somebody saw the makeup and went, I don't think that's good. So it gradually grew, Debbie, to what it is now. We have people who bring us coffee. We have people who give us food for the dress rehearsal and all that. And it's what's terrific about it, Debbie? We get to see all of our friends. There's never a time in the year usually that you see all of your show business friends at one time. And it's terrific. We laugh our tails off backstage.
Well, what's so lovely about this event, and last year was phenomenal with Stage Goes to the Movies when Shirley Jones ended up being a surprise opening guest with Robert Osborne. And we went on the great musical journey through movie musicals, and I was like a pig in heaven with that show. That.
You'll get more this year, my darling.
I'm telling you.
It'll be from from the movies to Broadway and back.
Yep. And it's funny because I talked to Jake Simpson the other day, and Jake was telling me he's going to be doing a James Bond number, Tomorrow Never Dies.
How fabulous.
That is beyond fabulous. Mary Jo Catlett, Mary Jo, who couldn't perform last year because she had a torn tendon in her leg.
Right.
Mary Jo but
she's good this year. She's good.
She's good this year, and she's going to be singing a Doris Day song with Adam Wiley, her former co-star from a while ago, who's going to be doing magic acts.
How wonderful. See, you're giving me information I didn't. Everybody, we kind of rehearse by ourselves, with David Galligan, our director, and then we come together, dress rehearsal night. And everybody goes, "Oh, my God, you're doing that song. How fabulous. Oh, you're wearing that costume." It's exciting for us to come together and see what everybody's doing. And, of course, don't you love Bob Osborne? He was there last year because we were doing movies, And a little side note, darling, if I veer from this, Debbie, you talk to me about if I'm going off in another direction, darling. But Bob Osborne was best man when Tom and I got married. And, Debbie, you'll never believe it, but I swear your audience will know. I was trying to look virginal for my wedding. And in the theater, we call that a stretch. And among other things, darling, I tell you, I thought I'd wear no makeup. And my vision was I looked like Grace Kelly. And Lucy turned to me and she said, "Put on some lipstick. You look like the ghost of Christmas past." So I put on lipstick, I swear to God. Tom lifted my veil, and it was like the miracle worker. He had no idea who it was because I had on no makeup.
And that man is still with you to this day.
Yes, my darling, we've been married 51 years. How's that for? Honey, they don't even do that in Abilene, Texas.
That's right.
I always say I was 12 years old when I got married.
Well, you were.
You bet. And I told that to somebody the other day, and they went, "You were 12?" I went, "Oh, get a grip." No, I wasn't 12. I wasn't in Kentucky. But next best thing, Texas. Anyway, we honestly married, but I loved it. So I've known Bob Osborne that long. See, that was great. He came out here. It's like a family reunion,
Do you know who's going to be hosting this year?
No.
Nobody's told me either.
In fact, to be truthful, my darling, I don't think we have an official. Now, Bob's being here last year was unusual. Usually there is no host or hostess, you know. I mean, it's just we tie the songs together. But that was kind of unusual for David to have Bob. But he is so identified with movies and all that it was a great coup to get him out here.
Oh, absolutely. And you know,
actually, to my knowledge, there will not be. We usually do not have a host.
Well, one thing you are going to have again this year is that incredible silent auction.
Oh, how about that?
Have you? Do you know how much stuff I bid on last year and how much I came home with?
And do you know how much of that stuff just sits there and I go, I've got to wear that. But it is a great silent auction.
Well, you know, Scott told me some of the big ticket items this year that people can bid on. A 6-day, 5-night Belize spa vacation at the Maruba Resort Jungle Spa in Belize.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You and I may have to bid on that. Leave Tom at home, and you and I'll go on that.
I just want. It's not against the law for me to bid, is it?
No, it's
you
not.
You know how when you work for a certain company or something, you can. But see, this is a freebie, so I think I'd be able to bid.
Oh,
on
I
that.
think so. If not, just let Tom do it for you.
Oh, I will. And, they have a lot of jewelry, too, which
They
I
have
love.
jewelry. There's also a Thanksgiving week in New York City, so people can bid, and they can be right there up close and personal for the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
The sign paintings are really nice, too.
And you know what's great about
beautiful.
the show, Debbie, that I love? And people say, oh, if they don't, I don't know, if there's somebody they're not that crazy about, I said, you know, it doesn't matter. 2 minutes, there's somebody new coming on. I mean, it is a parade of Broadway and Los Angeles talent.
Well,
Is one of the joys for you, Carole, just with these 29...
Sorry?
Is one of the joys of what you do as a performer is seeing the joy that you receive from the audience when they applaud or they're really moved by a performance?
Yes, and you know, Greg, what's good about it, too, I can't see past a certain amount of rows, but I see people in the audience, and I talk to them. And then we have John Marr, who is fabulous. He's the guy who signs for the deaf, you know, on the side. And I love talking to him. And it's wonderful. We have that service, too. So people who have a hearing problem and can sign, he does that. And he's one of the favorites for everybody, you know, because he's very funny, and he and I have a good time kind of having a go at it on stage. So I love that, too.
You definitely did last year.
Yeah, and when we first started this, I didn't know we were having a signer. This was a few years after we started. And David said to me, Carole, there'll be a gentleman on the side, stage left, and he'll be signing. And I said, oh, really? And so I said, would it be all right if I said a word or two to him? And so he said, I'll ask him. John sent, I didn't know John at all, and he sent word back, oh, tell Miss Cook, don't talk to me. I'm very shy. Well, of course, that's all I needed to hear. And I came out on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Patty Duke with us from The Miracle Worker. And I thought and now, the joke to that is, now he gives me notes. He said, Carole, I made him a star. I mean, people can't wait for him to do something. And he gives me notes before we go on. He'll say, Carole, I think it'd be better if you waited for a count of 3 before you... I said, John, I'm the one doing this show. But he's adorable, and I love it. I love doing it, you know.
Oh, well, I think you enjoy it more than anybody else, but everybody just loves this benefit. They love the cause. They love the benefit. They love the fact that all the money that you raise, it's not taken for administration fees. This actually goes to help people in need.
Debbie, I'm telling you from the beginning, I love telling this, nobody had anything. I mean, we just $10 got you in. and David would say, now the only thing, you will have to pay $3 for parking. And he said, and we will give you the $3 back. That's all they paid for. Even then, Debbie, I said, what about the $3? And David would say, well, I think you'd like to contribute that, wouldn't you? I mean, they wouldn't even pay for the damn parking. I mean, that's how poor we all were. And it worked. It worked, you know.
Well, when I talked to Mary Jo Catlett Friday,
Yeah.
What she was really impressed about is from last year's, the money raised last year, do you know that 58,000 hours of home health care visits were made because of what you did?
Isn't that fabulous? You know, and we're homegrown.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm not sure about this, Debbie, but I think over the years, 30 years, and this will be our 30, it's around like 5 million or something.
No, it's over 7, Carole.
Oh, are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Oh, then I'm going to ask them for money. Oh, no, I've worked free for too long, sweetheart. No.
You need some money to bid on these silent auction items.
That's it. I'll promise I'll take them and bid. Because there are several things that you mentioned that that Thanksgiving one I think would be great.
Well, Greg was saying he likes the signed paintings of Broadway legends.
Oh, great! Don't you love that?
Oh yeah.
I just love. I mean, Kander Nebb, Jerry Herman, everybody. Sondheim.
Mm-hmm. And Sondheim is very much in the forefront right now after Into the Woods was just a huge hit for Disney over the holidays.
Do you know when we do Sondheim, he's one of our stalwarts. I mean, we can always count on a good audience with Sondheim.
Mm-hmm.
But we do with Berlin, we do it, and I kind of love it that David has opened it up sometimes, and it's not just one or two, composers and lyricists. That we've opened up to movie. Everybody loves the movie, movies and the music in it, and Broadway, and that's what it is this year.
Well, and I think that's one of the most fabulous things, and it's something, be it Broadway, be it music, be it movies, it touches everybody. That is a universal language that touches everybody in one way or another.
Oh, it does. I remember when I was a kid, I'd come out of the movie with my mother and grandmother, and I'd swing around the parking meters, and they'd say, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I still hear the music." You did. You'd come out of the movie, and, Gene Kelly, all of those, it was fabulous. And so we're going to do them all for the public.
Well, and the public can get tickets to this great event just by going to STAGELA.com. I know there are plenty of fantastic seats still available.
Yes.
Because I'm always up checking on the Saban website to see what seats are still available.
Yeah, and it's at the Saban, or however you pronounce
Saban, Beverly Hills, May 9th.
Right off of La Cienega.
Yep, parking is lovely.
Wilshire Theater. And it's Broadway and the movies right here in L.A.
It's to Broadway from Hollywood with love at the Saban or Saban Theater at the corner of Wilshire and La Cienega. You can park in Larry Flint's building on the corner. 7:30, May 9th. Doors open, I think, at 6, so people can start bidding on those silent auction items.
But they'll have to beat me there.
Well, I don't know. You and I are going to be the first ones in line for that Belize trip, I think.
I get there about 3 days early to start the makeup, honey.
Well.
So I have to. And but anyway, I'd love to see everybody there. I promise you a great time.
Well, my darling Carole, I have a lovely female director who's going to be talking to us next, who's calling in. Women are we're taking over the show today. Greg's the odd man out.
Greg, I apologize. You can have another day, sweetheart.
Okay.
I shall see you
it's our time.
I shall see you on May 9th, my friend.
Oh, lovely. I will see you there. We'll hug and kiss. And that goes for you too, Greg.
Yes, I will be there.
I noticed a little hesitancy.
Oh, no,
I'm going to get you for that, Greg.
Okay.
She will, too.
And I
All
will.
right. You give my love to that darling husband of yours, and I will see you in less than a month.
You better believe it. And thank you both so much. I love talking to you.
Thank
you
you.
so
Okay.
Bye, Carole.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow,
That
that's amazing.
is a legend.
Yeah, legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we have a future legend on the line. Were you
your lips.
were you listening?
I heard the very, very tail end.
You got a tough act to follow here after Carole Cook.
I know, but you know what? I've learned not to even try. You let everybody have their greatness and just be who you are.
Hey, and Carole is, I mean, people think of Carole, and it's like, that's Bessie Limpet. It's Bessie Limpet. So
Yeah, I know.
for everybody who is now tuning in or stopping laughter or recovering after our fun exchange, I have the fantastic writer-director Jane Clark, the head crazy bitch herself, of Crazy Bitches movie, on the line.
Morning.
Hello. And Crazy Bitches is now on DVD.
Yes. Well, we're on pre-order.
Well, that's okay.
Wait, when does
Yeah,
it specifically street then? Your DVD.
April 14.
Okay, cool.
So,
April 14. Yeah, we were going to, I think I forgot to email you guys, but we were going to come out on the 1st, and then it was the 7th, but now it's definitely the 14th. We've got approval from Amazon, and I've got it up on the website and everything. It just took me a really long time to just put all the elements together because it's got all these extras to it, and I guess I thought I was just going to whip it out, but, we ended up going through every single piece of footage that we had to find some fun little things to put on an outtake reel, and I recut one of the makeout scenes due to popular demand.
ooh.
Nice.
And then I pulled, there's a 4-minute segment from the film that was originally meant to be at the top of, right after the first scene of the movie, and it's supposed to introduce the characters, and I ended up cutting it in the end because I thought that it slowed the pacing down, but it's a really cool introduction to each of the bitches.
Oh, cool.
And then I do a director's commentary, which took me the longest. I mean, just forever to try to figure out what, to sort of narrow down the stories per scene because there were so many.
Okay, and I bet the whole time you were like cringing and you're saying, "Damn, Debbie, she told me to do a DVD and now I have to do this."
Exactly. It's all your fault.
It's all my fault. Everything is my fault. What can I say? For people that are not aware of Crazy Bitches, give them a rundown of this fun film.
Well, the basic log line is that 7 women and 1 fabulous gay guy go to a remote ranch for some R&R, and then things go horribly wrong when one by one they're killed by their own vanity. So it's mostly comedy with a little bit of horror and a little bit of a poke at women and at me, at us, at my friends. And it's a really good time. It's just a fun time.
And of course, once again, I would be remiss not to mention the incredible job you have done with corpses and blood.
We don't want to ignore that.
No, we don't want to, and that is so standout in this film. The attention to detail that you put in, just fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you know how much I love those little details, especially with the color of the blood, the positioning of the bodies, the surprise element.
And the location, it's a really expansive location too. For that budget, it's a really beautiful landscape that you shot on. So I love that too.
Yeah, I really lucked out with that one, honestly, because, if I had to actually, when I was looking for a location, I'd originally written it with a lake and but I wanted this really sort of higher end house. I didn't want like a crappy cabin for the girls because they wouldn't stay in a crappy cabin. And like your typical log cabin horror site. And I almost gave up because I'd found a location, and it was going to be incredibly expensive. It was beautiful, but it was going to be really expensive. They had shot True Blood there and a bunch of other things, and I was almost sort of feeling defeated, and I made one more pass through sort of a location directory that's available, and this had just popped up. And when I went to meet the woman, I could not believe that all of these little places were available on this one site. She had developed this whole piece of land basically by herself with workers, and designed the whole thing, and it's incredible, and she really worked with me to make sure that I was able to afford it. I mean, I'm really grateful.
Well, something that people should need to be a little more grateful about is this whole idea of digital downloads and buying DVDs, because you have just gone through an experience that many filmmakers go through. A lot of them don't talk about it, and I think the public is really getting a big handle on it thanks to what happened with the Expendables 3 last summer. Piracy.
Yeah, I completely underestimated the impact that was going to have. I mean, I think that I underestimated two things. One, I think I underestimated how pervasive it is, and two, I think I underestimated the level of interest that people were going to have in this film. Mm-hmm. You make a little film, and there's no stars in it, and you do your we did a very, very small marketing campaign, but apparently it was extremely effective because we released on a Friday, and that Wednesday I got a call from a cousin who's very techie, and he said, I think I ought to just let you know that Crazy Bitches is all over the web, and you are in the top 10 of downloaded films for the weekend. I mean, among all films, illegally. I'm like, that's not good. That's not the way I wanted to hear that news. But
no, first you get you're in the top 10. First you're hearing, you're in the top 10. Isn't that fantastic? And then you're getting the butt illegally.
Yeah, it was really a moment of joy, followed by an extended of complete devastation. But the thing is that he sent me the one of the main URLs that he goes to all the time, because of course he pirates movies, and he said, yeah, that's how he found out. And I went there and I started trying to find my URLs and doing the takedown on them. I did 75 takedowns and realized that I was at the tip of the iceberg and was never going to be able to handle it myself. And we ended up finding a company for not too much money that would, systematically every week go through. But their first pass, they removed 647 URLs on top of my 75.
Wow.
And they averaged they estimate that the average is 300 downloads per URL. So when you start doing the math, the losses are, the dollar amount that we lost is huge. And the sad thing is that, it wouldn't take much to pay our investors back. We'd be in the black now if even a quarter of the people that to date have illegally downloaded the movie actually just paid the $3.99 to rent it.
Yeah,
and it makes my life easier because it helps me to go, if I want to make Crazier Bitches and Craziest Bitches, I need the backup. I need the sales. I need to, I need to show that there's an audience. The sad part is I actually can show there's an audience because clearly there was one, but it's not. It doesn't help me. Doesn't help me with this film nor the next one. And I just don't think people realize. They think, well, it's just me. It's just one download, or it's a company. So how who am I hurting? And I'm not sure they understand that they're impacting my livelihood. I mean, in a serious way, because I'm not a big filmmaker making, tons of money. I've never gotten a paycheck from either one of my films. Wow. So I've been basically working 6 years for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think this is something, and you're right. I don't think people realize, they think it's, I'm the only one doing it. Well, number one, you're not the only one doing it. But what's happened with the advent of making it easier for filmmakers to make movies now because of the technological advances and all these different platforms to get your film out there, it just opens you up. It exposes you thinking that, okay, yeah, more people have access to your film, but then people need to step up and take some responsibility and do the right thing and pay for access to that film.
Yeah, and it's a sort of a psychological issue in that there's a whole generation of people who have grown up with the internet with everything being free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, journalists. That's why journalism has gone downhill, and the print magazines and the newspapers are pretty much going out of business because nobody's paying for that content either. And it's the same thing that killed the music industry and killed it. It killed it.
Yep.
And we're headed that direction. And what really puzzles me is when when you talk to people in the industry, when you talk to I've talked to some journalists that are like, well, it's sort of an old story, isn't it? And I'm like, no, it's not an old story if it's happening now, and it's happening, and it's ruining livelihoods. It's not an old story. It's a story that people decided was finished, and when they stopped talking about it, the problem stopped being dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm really grateful that so many people wanted to see the movie. I hope most of them enjoyed it, but...
They got to pay for it. They got to pay for it.
It's also a double. It's also a double frustration because I remember you were telling me that you experienced a similar situation with Meth Head, right? As far as regarding distribution of a really good movie that people loved, but it's another aspect of distributing your content for people to watch and pay for.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gotten harder and harder, legally and illegally. It's gotten harder and harder. And I do think that to some degree, this particular situation I could blame on myself because I just really didn't plan for it. And now that I understand that there are things you can do, I will plan differently the next time around. And I think back to Meth Head, and when we released, and we didn't have money for an ad campaign, and it really just, and we didn't have the backing of the distributors in terms of financially. I mean, they liked the movie, they took it on, but small distributors these days don't put any ad dollars in.
Mm-hmm.
And we were broke on that film, and I saw Google alerts with Meth Head torrent, on torrent sites, and they would pop up, a couple times a week, but I really didn't. I thought, oh well, then there's just a couple of URLs, and I just didn't understand how it worked. And I'm pretty sure that a great amount of our potential earnings on Meth Head also went to the piracy issue as well, because I now realize that Google alert I'm getting only reflects an nth degree of the amount of URLs that are actually out there.
So what would be, for other filmmakers, small filmmakers like yourself, what would be your best bit of advice to them about trying to prevent piracy of their films?
Well, I'd say, first of all, it's a film-by-film basis. So I'm going to preempt it that way, but in general, there are companies that do takedowns. They just are automated, and they spin through, and they search for the URLs, and then they send the takedown notices, and then they'll then quantify how many have been taken down, how many are pending, that kind of thing, and you can keep track. So I plan on employing them weeks in advance of my release next time. That's number one. Yeah. I know that one of my I only gave Blu-rays out to festivals for screening, and some of the URLs that have popped up have a incorrect time code, which my Blu-ray had. It was my burner, for whatever reason, burned an hour and 31 onto it. It's an hour and 39, and so I was seeing the URLs with the time, with the length of the movie being that of my Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure that I lost a film through one of those festivals. And that's not to blame a festival. It's just to say that there's a lot of people who are working for free for festivals by necessity, volunteers. And that DVD travels and Blu-ray travels through different hands while it's in their, in their care.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure I lost a film through a festival. I think I've lost a lot of films through a lot of different ways. I mean, a lot of copies through a lot of different ways, but that was one of them. So I highly recommend that if you're going to screen a festival, whenever possible, make it a DCP and have it locked, so that it has an activation code that has to be controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that, there's a lot of screening links that go out to press, and, I've been told that could be an avenue that where it slipped away. And the screeners that you send to the festivals. So,
right.
I mean, some films really need that festival route, and they really need the reviews out of that festival route, and they really need the word of mouth and hopefully awards if you can get awards. I mean, Meth Head won a bunch of awards, and, I think at the very least it gives it some gravitas, but it was that kind of movie, too. And Crazy Bitches, when I do Crazier Bitches, I may not play festivals at all. And if I do, it's going to be a festival I have a relationship with and I have a reason to trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going to really limit the screeners that go out to press and, any kind of coverage because, you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of, small bloggers out there that are great and they're insightful and they write really good reviews. And then there's a lot of people you don't know who they are and you can't really back it up. And I think you just have to be more cautious. You just have to think about who are you giving this link to. It's precious. It's copyable, and you better be sure when you hand it out. And there's a lot of people that you just don't know who they are, and they maybe have 500 followers, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. They could be great people. They could be somebody who makes a little money on the side. I don't know, but that's one other thing to be cautious of as a filmmaker, who you give that film to, whether it's press or the festivals or anybody else. And watermark it, if you have a up online, watermark it so that it has a distracting, little thing that pops up every now and then. The reviewers that are legit reviewers are used to it. They get those from the big studios anyway, so you won't turn anybody off. But you have to do those things and be extra cautious and be highly aware that it's a huge market and you can lose your film anytime during the sort of festival marketing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jane, I know we have to run to our next female directors. This is our Women's Day, I think.
All right.
But before we let you go, you are kind enough. You're going to give us a signed copy of Crazy Bitches for a giveaway.
Yeah. Blu-ray or DVD, whatever anybody wants. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Greg is going to be handling that because he is the master of giveaways.
Yeah, Blu-rays. I love Blu-rays, so definitely I'll conduct.
He has a big smile on his face.
Yeah, and I loved your film.
Okay.
So
you let me know what you need from me. You know how to reach me.
Definitely.
We do. Jane,
awesome.
Thank you so much. Everybody can go to Amazon.com now, pre-order.
Go to my website and pre-order. Amazon will go hot on the 14th.
Okay, so pre-order on your website, which is?
thecrazybitchesmovie.com.
You got it. And I will talk to you
guys.
soon. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And is this Esra or is this Nisan?
So this one is Esra.
Well, you
Hi.
hold on one second, Esra, and then I'm going to bring Nisan in here. We've got Esra Saydam and Nisan Dag joining us, the directors of writers and directors of Across the Sea. And
hello,
Nisan is here too.
If you can hear me.
We've got both of you on the line.
Yeah.
Yay! And I have to tell you, first of all, congratulations on the Audience Award at Slamdance for Best Narrative Feature for Across the Sea. And now you're actually going to be playing in the Arclight Theatre on April 12th. How exciting is that for you guys?
Yeah, that's incredible. We have a lot of friends who also live in LA. They have been looking forward to see the film, so it's really exciting to be showing there.
Well, I have to tell you, the film is, I've seen it, it is so beautiful. The widescreen, you widescreen lensing, and you're shooting there on the Aegean Sea. I just wanted to get out a beach chair, sit under a cabana, and just watch. It's gorgeous. The film is
Thank you.
gorgeous.
So I guess the happy thing about that is that the cinematographer was our friend from Columbia University graduate film program, and that was his first feature film.
Wow.
Oh my
So,
God.
Yeah.
That
He's
is
great. His name is John Wakayamakeri, yeah.
His work is absolutely stunning, and I think, so many directors are reluctant to shoot in a widescreen, but with a film as beautiful as this, you have this beautiful light palette, this widescreen palette, so you really get the feel of the world. And then you balance it with a really interesting story with three main characters that have secrets and a level of darkness to them. So it's a beautiful metaphoric dichotomy you have.
Oh, thank you.
Where
It's really so beautiful there. Sometimes it's painful to be shooting because it's like it looks so great. It's really hot out. It was in the middle of the summer, but you can't jump into the sea. You have to keep filming for hours and hours.
Where did the idea for Across the Sea come from? We have, we have the character of Damla, who has left her native Turkey. She's gone to New York. She met a lawyer. She got married. They're very upwardly mobile. They have money. She's now expecting, and she doesn't want to go visit her homeland, but is essentially drugged by her husband. Where does this come from? It's not your run-of-the-mill story.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's definitely not a personal story, but I guess her academic destination was very similar to ours. All of us went to New York for a better education in our area of expertise, and unlike us, she chose to stay there and get married, and we don't know what's going to happen to us, but that's her arc right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the story began first in my head because I was so homesick after 5 years. I was missing certain emotions, certain some kind of intimacy that I couldn't find in my surroundings, both in Chicago and then in New York. So it was a short film idea, and then I pitched it to Nisan, and we all together brainstormed about it, and then we pitched to other friends who wanted to produce and other friends who wanted to, shoot it for us as cinematographer. So I guess it's about being stuck between your past and present, and what you leave behind when you pursue your ambitions. That was our main drive to do this, to make this film.
Well, I have to tell you, one of the most impressive elements of your film, after your cinematography, is your casting, and most notably with the character of Barak, the old love who is still back in Turkey. That's Ahmet Sangar, correct?
Yes.
Where did you find him? He is, and the whole design of the character of Barak, he is like the perfect man. He is kind, he is generous of spirit, generous of heart, and his presence, Ahmet's presence on screen, it just emanates kindness. It's just so beautiful. Where did you find him?
Nisan, do you want to go? Or?
Well, you should say, because Esra was the one you first discovered the thought.
I mean, it's not I'm not going to say I discovered him. He was already really there. His first biggest his outbreak was in this film called Three Monkeys. That was at Cannes. I think that was directed by the latest Palme d'Or winner, Turkish director Nuri Bilge Ceylan. So he was already out there in terms of subtle acting. I think when he doesn't speak, he can deliver so many emotions that have no boundaries, and he can appeal to me. I believe he can appeal to every person from all around the world.
Every woman out.
By the way,
he's going to appeal to every
woman.
woman.
And say that they call him the Turkish Ryan Gosling.
Okay, I can see that, because there's not a woman out there that is not going to just go, oh, when you see him on the beach in the water, just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Like you can see the whole story arc on his face, basically. So that's
and
really,
there aren't too many actors that can do that because, as you mentioned, his dialogue is minimal, but he tells the story on his face and in his movements, and it's just exquisite.
yeah, he's one of those actors who are in the film business because they want to tell stories, not just to show up or other things. Like, he really cares about serving to the story. And I have a theory that he would really risk his life to perform his best a character that he really believes in. He's that kind of guy. He's like a fighter. So I hope he also comes to LA or New York or do some stuff there too.
Oh yeah, we have to see more of him.
Yeah,
we have to see more. Now,
and the challenges of shooting across the sea. How long was your production, and with your budget and your locations, how many days did you have to shoot? Did you have a lot, or very constrained as far as your scheduling?
I think we were lucky compared to other small budget indie films. We had 5 weeks of shooting, 4 weeks in Turkey and 1 week in New York. And locations-wise, we were lucky because that was Esra's summer town, that beautiful coast that you've seen there, and the house too, one of the houses. So Esra was very generous. She opened up, and her whole neighbors also were very generous.
Aww.
We kind of destroyed their summer, but so locations-wise, that's how we made it possible with such a low budget. Having shot in locations that we own, and having a lot of the beach belongs to everyone and things like that. So that's how it happened.
Now,
and other part of luck was, we also got a fund from Ministry of Culture, which doesn't really happen if you have only one passport that is U.S. If you have double passports, you can benefit from multiple funds of multiple, countries. So that's nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Esra, I have to ask you, you were no stranger to Slamdance because you produced the film I Am John Wayne, which won the Grand Jury Prize in 2012. Yeah. What is it that you love about Slamdance, other than the fact you keep winning awards there?
Well, awards is something that, makes you cheer up and, motivates you. But for us, it's all about process. And I guess the process of the festival at Slamdance always amazed me. And honestly, I believe I can become as brave filmmakers as the ones that I saw at the festival. Like, there are so many brave works that I would love to be part of. And they are not, they are fearless. People at Slamdance are fearless, and they would do anything to make their film happen. And that's the spirit that the pure hunger of filmmaking. That's something that I observed, and I am so proud of being a part of.
So are the two of you working on another project right now?
Yeah, we both have other projects we're diving into. But as you know, making a feature is so hard. We already feel very lucky that we pulled off one so quickly. We both have projects that we're writing. Esra, you're kind of still at the writing stage too, right? We're helping each other. So, I think we're not going to co-direct our next film, but we definitely had a great collaboration. So we want to keep helping out each other somehow and be involved in each other's projects. So that's the plan.
Well, I am getting the music cue that we are out of time today. I hope you will both call us back again to talk about other projects as you move them along.
I hope so, yeah.
And in the meantime, everybody can go to the Arclight April 12th and see Across the Sea on the great big screen.
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you.
Ladies,
all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And okay, if Brian plays this one more time, we're going to take a French horn and throw it through the window.
Okay.
That is all the time we have today. As we warned you, jam-packed. Next week, we will be back. We'll be reminding you again about some giveaways that Greg is doing. Nancy Dussault, the legend herself from Too Close for Comfort, will be joining us. We'll have some Arclight-Slamdance programmers and a couple other surprises for you. So, this is Behind the Lens, and we'll see you next week.